Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah, and I am the marketing coordinator here at Proveda. I have the great privilege of working with our wonderful community programs team, some of whom are with me today to talk through our volunteering opportunities here at Proveda. Each of them will give you a rundown into the programs that they look after. I've got the wonderful Kate, who looks after our volunteer program. I'm also joined by Anna, who looks after our Compassionate Connector program, and Ali, who looks after our Belong Club. Um, they will all share everything about their program with you guys. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask at the end. We do have a Q&A box that is available to pop your questions in. You will only be able to see your own questions, so don't worry if you can't see anybody else's. You're not alone, and we can see all the questions that are coming through, so we'll address those at the end. I would just like to start this session with an acknowledgement to country before I hand over to the wonderful Kate. So we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we volunteer and pay our respects to elders past and present. We recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and community as we honour their enduring culture. As volunteers, we commit to working respectfully and inclusively, supporting reconciliation and understanding in all that we do. Thanks, everyone. Kate, over to you now.
Hi everyone, thank you for attending and your interest in our community programs. We love that you want to learn more. It's awesome. We have one program that is federally funded, which is called the ACVIS program, the Aged Care Volunteer Visitors Scheme. And that scheme is about connecting volunteers with lonely and isolated people who are living in residential aged care homes or are supported by, it's now called the Support at Home Fund, used to be home care packages. We ask for that particular program that volunteers try to commit to visiting at least once a week or once a fortnight. We also get referrals from within Proveda, the care workers at Proveda. So from the aged care team, the GP social work team, mental health and NDIS programs. They ask us to find volunteers who can help with reducing social isolation due to people's either age, mental health or disability. Prior to COVID, we just did social support, and then COVID came and you weren't allowed to be social anymore. But people still needed support, so we expanded into doing other roles, and we haven't stopped that. So we still have volunteers who help with shopping. So they either do the shopping for someone, the person will give you either their card or their money. And you go and their shopping list, you go and do the shopping, come back with the receipt and the food, take it inside. Or you could take someone shopping, and that's sort of, a lot of people like that because it's the social connection, have a cup of coffee or tea while you're out doing the shopping. We also have volunteers who take people out into the community for a walk and talk, or just a coffee, or some people just like to go for a drive. They just want to get out. And if we have your driver's license, your car rego and comprehensive insurance, then that's great if you can take them out for a drive. We also have volunteers who help with gardening, getting to appointments, just sitting at home, having a chat, reading books together or reading to someone. We have some volunteers who just go and listen to music with their companion, playing card games or board games. The volunteer role is definitely not about domestic help or personal care. That's not you don't do that. Volunteers do not do that. We also get a lot of referrals from outside of Proveda. We get referrals from Health New South Wales, social workers, GPs, psychologists, psychiatrists, hospital social workers, mental health caseworkers, Bridge Housing, Mission Australia, staff from residential aged care homes and aged care assessors all make referrals to the program for a volunteer to help where they can. Primarily volunteers, the program is about offering to reduce social isolation. So, connecting with people socially. We hope that volunteers will visit their companions either weekly or fortnightly, but even monthly, depending on your availability. We try to be as flexible as possible. We realise that most of our volunteers, a lot have full-time jobs and many have families. So we've got to try and work around all of that. And we appreciate that. Once we've sort of got that first visit in place, in some instances, then you can decide with the person you're visiting when your next visit will be. If not, we just sort of set things more or less in place, but we can definitely be flexible. We've got some volunteers that are running arts and classes in residential aged care homes. That's been a great success. We also have a small team of volunteers who deliver meals and fresh fruit and vegetables, fresh bread every Thursday. We're always looking to expand that team. Meals are provided free by One Meal in Brookvale. They're a fantastic organisation. We've got about 12 or 14 Proveda clients that we deliver to every week. And we've got a little team that does that. We also have several volunteers who host our connected cafes around the beaches. I think we've got 6 different connected cafes in different suburbs. Happy to start up more if anyone is interested. So every week, it's at the same cafe, the same time each week. I send a text out to everyone saying, don't forget coffee's on. The volunteer will sit there and wait for the people to come. Sometimes you might get 2, sometimes you might get 10 people. There is no commitment. You don't have to register. You just turn up if you turn up. If you don't, you don't. We've got one of our connected cafes and a couple of them play Scrabble together. But it's just really about getting around a table and having a chat, enjoying each other's company over a coffee or tea or whatever. A lot of our volunteers tell me that they get more out of their volunteering than they give. And I understand why. We also have some young volunteers who are doing their D of E. Their D of E volunteers hours, so they're visiting residents in residential aged care homes. They help with afternoon teas, entertainment, music, and just general chatting to the residents. The residents love the young ones coming in. I hope they get addicted to it, and the D of E students, and there have been instances where their volunteer hours are up and they still continue to visit, which is lovely. We've got some young adults with disabilities who also visit a few of the residential aged care homes. Again, it's to help with morning and afternoon teas, entertainment, setting up and playing board games with residents. There's one person who does gentle exercises. Look, the staff and the residents love it. The residents think they're doing the right thing by the young person with the disability, and the person with the disability thinks they're doing the right thing by the residents. So the staff say it's a win-win. Depending on the independence of the young adult is whether they go with a support worker or not. We have some volunteers that go with some of our volunteers with disabilities go with a support worker, some just go independently. So I hope that gives you sort of a broad outline of Proveda's community program. It's a busy program, but it is very rewarding. And as I say, a lot of the volunteers say they get more out of it than they give. You will need a police check, which we will do for you at the onboarding process. And if you've been a resident or a citizen of another country after turning 16, legally we ask that you're required to get a stat dec signed, which you can get done at a local pharmacist or post office, various places. It doesn't have to go to a JP. Yeah, so any questions you can ask at the end, but it's a very rewarding program, and we'd love to have as many volunteers. We've got a lot of requests that come in all the time, and we cover all of the Northern Sydney area, which is pretty big, sort of from Palm Beach to Hornsby out to Epping, Ryde, Lane Cove, North Sydney. It's a big area that we cover. So we hope that we can get volunteers from all those areas. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Kate. I'm actually on the volunteer database as a volunteer myself, and I can tell you now that Kate does a wonderful job. There are so many requests coming in every day, every week, every month. They don't stop. There are so many people out there in the community that could definitely do with a helping hand. And so, Kate, you do a wonderful job. Thank you. Now like to welcome Anna from the Compassionate Connector program. So over to you. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Hannah, and thanks, Kate. I love listening to you talking to your program that is so well established and functioning so well in Sydney's north. I coordinate the Compassionate Connector program, which is a unique volunteer program where we've got to focus on end of life, and we support individuals and families where someone is at the very end and dying. This program is for individuals who are over 65 and also for their families. If we are more isolated than we want to be, our health declines. This is true for all of us, but maybe it's particularly important when we are at the end of life. We know that when we are at the end or when we are dying, we spend less than 5% around doctors or medical professionals, and the other 95% we spend with family or friends, and sometimes we spend that time alone. And this is a time that can be quite overwhelming and quite isolated, both for individuals, but also for their families, where they really want to find time to connect and love and create beautiful memories together, but it can be really overwhelming just to get through all of the practical tasks of what it means to care for someone at home in the end, which is this where this program comes in, and we want to be there to increase the social support that's available at home and to improve the care that we can offer together as a community in the end for someone. So this program comes from the back of a study that was done in Western Australia a few years ago, where they had this model with some really promising results. So what that study showed was that when a trained, compassionate connector came into an individual and their family's life, it improved the social connectedness for that person with a life-changing illness. And the participants in the program experienced a reduced level of social isolation, an ability to better cope with daily activities, and an increase in their supportive networks. So the program was a great help in addressing all those gaps that formal services often aren't able to reach. And I wanted to just illustrate on a page how this unique volunteering program is a little bit different to the more traditional social supports programs, where we come in and do a lot of the actual work ourselves, which is often what we want to do as volunteers. So this is just an illustration with an image there of a participant in the program who maybe has a daughter as a part of their family too. So most of the time a participant has a family around them. That isn't always the case. Sometimes there is no family. In the next circle, we've got friends around someone that are more or less active in helping out. We all exist within our community, whether we feel connected to our community or not. And there's a level of formal services around us helping too when we need it at the end. When a connector comes in to support a participant in the program, we don't call them a volunteer, we call them a connector, and we do that for a reason, which I'm going to show now. So the connector basically comes in and asks two questions. They will ask what help is needed and who can help. So the idea here is to remind ourselves of that it's not the connector that will come in and do all of the helping. Rather, the connector will come in to identify all the other people that may exist in the network, or we find people that don't yet exist in the network that want to be there and really want to help. So in conversation with a participant, maybe initially you might find a network that is quite limited. And it could look something like this. We might have a really supportive GP, an amazing grandchild. Maybe there's a really lovely neighbor that wants to help as best they can, and an empathetic post woman that's around and cares and knows what's going on. Over time, the connector, the participant, and the family will start to identify additional needs that others in the community can support with. And over time, the network will grow, and it may start to look something like this. And this is an illustration of what happened over in Western Australia when they ran the program there. So you will start to see an increase in people in the network that can help. And this may be additional neighbors that didn't know what's going on that now knows and want to help. There could be other community members. Sometimes these are partly paid services, can also be unpaid services, and there could also be formal services that we engage that weren't yet engaged before. So every situation and context is unique. If you are interested in this specific form of volunteering, it is very specific. I encourage you to register your interest. You can follow that QR code, and the first thing that will happen is you fill out an expression of interest form, and then you and I will have an individual conversation where you get a chance to ask more specific questions. And then what this program is really proud about is that the level of support that we give to each other, both as connectors, but also with me as a part of the program. So before we will match you with anyone, we will have a really comprehensive one-day training that's been getting a lot of good feedback, where you get a chance to get a better feel of this program and whether it is for you. So we will go into more depth about what it is that makes this specific kind of volunteering different and also really, really meaningful. Many volunteers that come into this program come in with some lived experience, and it's a really meaningful way to give back, having been through something maybe sometimes quite emotionally difficult. So we talk about that. What is it like to then want to give back? And how do we be with someone else and use that experience we have ourselves? And at the same time, be aware of everyone's unique context and make sure that we are about the other person and really being able to see what it is that they need, rather than impose something that maybe was important to us, but maybe not to everybody. And we also give some, we call it death literacy training, but we talk around specifics of end of life and things that we might come across. And after the training, we've got a really supportive WhatsApp group with the connectors that we have currently trained. We ran a fair bit of training last year, and we've got a few coming up early this year as well. So yeah, if you are interested in the training, I encourage you to sign up early, and I would love to have you there.
Thanks so much, Anna. Yeah, the Compassionate Connect program, definitely such an inspiring program, and Anna is so passionate about it, and it's been yeah, so wonderful to watch her at work and see the change this is having across the community. So thank you so much, Anna. I'm now going to pass over to Ali from our Belong Club. So thanks, Al.
Thanks, Hannah. And yeah, thanks, Kate and Anna. It's always a pleasure listening to you both about your amazing programs that you run. So my name is Alison, and I coordinate the Belong Club at Proveda. And for those who don't know, Belong Club is a program that's been around for about 5 years now. It was designed to reduce loneliness and foster connections and friendships. And we do that through a range of free activities, which are both online and in person. And it's all about bringing people together, whether you want to try something new, reignite old passions, or if you just want to connect more with your community. And what makes Belong Club so special is that it is a program that is run by the community for the community. So all of our events are made possible by our lovely volunteers, local businesses offering in-kind support, and also Proveda staff. But at the heart of it, the volunteers are definitely the heart of the Belong Club. And some of these activities that they run are things like walking groups. We've got arts and craft, board games, yoga. We've also got some online exercise classes, online quizzes, and so much more. So if this sounds like something that you might want to be involved with, you can volunteer to host your own event based on a skill or interest, or you could volunteer to help run one of our existing events as well. For example, our walking groups, we have about 5 or 6 volunteers that sort of alternate each week, just so then it's not such a big load and such a big commitment, which I understand is sometimes a bit of a barrier as a volunteer. As Kate mentioned, we understand that most of you have, jobs as well, and other commitments. So something that, we try to do is to make it easier for volunteers to get involved. And you know, a lot of volunteers will come to me and they sort of have a special skill or an interest, and they want to run like maybe a weekly event or a fortnightly or a monthly, whatever they fancy. But an example would be we had a volunteer who was a retired teacher, and she wanted to keep using her skills and she wanted to give back to the community. So we helped her start monthly online computer classes for our community, which was really great. So that gave her a creative outlet and also a break from her everyday role as a carer, and also gave her a sense of fulfillment. And another one of our volunteers, you know, she approached me saying that she loved reading, and she would love to start a book club. So we helped her set that up. And now she meets monthly with a group of friends that she's made along the way. And she's doing something that she loves while contributing to her community. So as Kate mentioned, you know, she feels like she gets a lot more out of it than what she's putting out. And you know, perhaps, you know, an idea could be if you enjoy playing chess and you'd like to share your love of chess with others, or perhaps you're a skilled art teacher and would love to teach others to create. But if you're not sure what skills or hobbies you have to offer, I will be running through a little bit of a self-reflection at the end, where we can help identify what you have to offer your community. We also ran a focus group last year with our Belong Club volunteers, just to get a little bit more ideas about what drives them and what they love about volunteering. And a lot of them came back, you know, saying that they loved connecting with people and creating meaningful friendships. They enjoyed meeting new people. They wanted to share and develop their skills and passions. They found volunteering fun and rewarding, and they really appreciated the flexibility. As I said, there's no pressure or obligation like some other volunteering roles, and it makes them feel useful and fulfilled. Some found it a great creative outlet, and some even mentioned that it was a way to support older people when they can't help their own loved ones, due to, you know, distance and things like that. And the ones that ran the online events, they also loved providing something enjoyable for people who may be homebound, for whatever reason. So if you'd like to get more involved with Belong Club, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at belongclub@proveda.com.au, or you can scan the QR code on the screen as well. We'd love to get in touch and create an event that reflects something that you might enjoy. And together, I feel like we can make our community stronger and more connected. And as I mentioned, I'll run you through like a little bit of a moment for reflection, see if we can identify some things that you could share with your community. This exercise is based on the ABCD Institute head, hand, heart, heel, and human connection exercise. And what it does is it encourages you to think about your talents, your skills and passions, and how you can share those with others. So if you have a piece of paper handy, I'll get you to write down any skills or passions that might pop up under all of these 5H categories. So first up, we have gifts of the head. This is things that you may know something about and would enjoy talking about with others. So this could be art, you know, history, music, movies, cooking. For me, I'm a bit of a movie buff and I would love to go to the movies with friends and talk about that for ages afterwards. So, you know, so maybe I could start a movie club or something like that. So then we have gifts of the hands, and these are skills that you may have and would like to share with others. So perhaps you can play the piano, or you're skilled at cooking, knitting, crocheting, and you would love to teach others. Next, we have gifts of the heart, and these are things that you care deeply about. So this could be something like the environment or sustainability, social justice, children, things like that. Next, we have gifts of the heel. These are things that we do to stay grounded. So something to settle our nervous systems when we're feeling a bit stressed. What do? It could be walking in nature, taking a yoga or meditation class, swimming in the ocean. For me, it's probably a high intense workout to get the blood pumping. Not for everybody, but that's what I enjoy doing. And finally, we have gifts of human connection. So these are things that you would do to stay grounded and connected with your community. So perhaps you've joined a walking group, or volunteer to visit vulnerable people in your community. Or maybe it's just a regular catch up with friends, or an online chat with a friend or a relative that you don't get to see much. So from these, I hope that you were able to identify a number of gifts that you may have. And from there, I would like you to think about those gifts and whether there is anything there that you have identified that you think you could offer the community. And that's okay if some of the gifts you're not confident in leading. Like I, for one, enjoy having a great sing along in the shower or in the car, but am I willing to teach a choir class? No. So, maybe there are a few things that you could do. And if you think that it's something that you would like to possibly offer through Belong Club, or maybe the Compassionate Connector program or Kate's volunteer program, and you'd like to share some of these gifts with us and the rest of the group, you can pop that down in the chat as well if you wanted to share it. The group won't be able to see your comments or anything like that, but we can read them, and we can read them out to the group as well if you would like. So thank you. I'll pass on over to Hannah.
Thanks so much, Ali. So Ali actually started the Belong Club during COVID, when some of our customers, particularly aged care customers, were really feeling isolated and vulnerable. And what started with just a few online activities has evolved into such a huge offering now, predominantly across Northern Beaches, but also online. And Ali should be so proud of what she's created there, because it's such a beautiful community. And yeah, it's really inspiring to see. So well done, Ali. We do have a couple of questions now. So the first one we have is Anna. This is for you. I am interested in the Compassionate Connector program. How often do you run the training if I sign up?
So this is our second year of running the Connector program. And last year we had trainings all over the Northern Beaches predominantly. And this year in 2026, we are focused on the Hornsby area. And I've been able to secure 2 training dates so far. We're going to run the first one on the 5th of March, and the second one is on the 24th of April. They're both going to be in the Hornsby Library, and you've got the information on our website. And I also wanted to add, for those of you, if there's anyone that feels like I don't want to commit to the full day, I've also got 2 information sessions, one in February, also at the library, and one in March, where we've got just an hour and a half to talk about compassionate communities and what the program is set out to do and ways that you can be involved. So thanks for asking that question.
Thanks so much, Anna. A bit more of a general question, probably for you, Kate. To become a volunteer, do I need anything other than a police check?
Yes, hi, you will. Well, no, actually, if you've been a resident or a citizen of another country other than Australia after turning 16, then we do need a stat dec sign from you to say that you haven't done anything bad in that other country. But if that's not the case, then just the police check.
Fab. Thanks, Kate. And one more question, Ali, for Belong Club. Do I need qualifications to be a Belong Club activity volunteer? I guess maybe if someone's volunteering to be a yoga instructor, do they need to be qualified?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what it is. Like we do have yoga classes, and our teachers there are fully qualified. But if it's like someone who might be like tech savvy and they want to teach computer classes, do you have to be a computer teacher? No, you don't need a degree, a teaching degree or anything like that. I think it just depends. Yeah, it depends on what it is that you were looking at to do. But I would say majority of the time that no, you don't need any qualifications.
Fab. Thanks, Ali. Okay, we are going to wrap up in a few minutes. I actually just have a little question I'd like to ask each of our panelists here. Sorry, guys, I didn't pre-warn you on this one. I guess I would just like to ask, what is your favorite part about your program or working for your program? Maybe we'll go in order that we presented. So if we start with Kate, just a little quick summary, your favorite part.
Definitely my favourite part is reading the reports that come in from the volunteers. Then I just get such happy little stories or funny stories about how their visit went, what the conversation was about. Really funny, some of them. And I think I can have things go very, very pear-shaped, and then I read something like that and it just makes the whole day better. So, or they send me photos sometimes of them all out together, the two people, and they look so happy. So yeah, that's my favorite part.
Oh, so lovely. Thanks, Kate. And Anna?
I love that question and that answer, Kate. Many things for me, but the one thing that stands out for me when I get that question is to see the enjoyment in the connectors and the meaningfulness of doing this specific kind of work. As I said, we often come into this with some self-lived experience and we want to give back in a meaningful way. So to connect with others that want to do the same, I find really privileged to be a part of.
Thanks, Anna. And lastly but not leastly, Alison.
What a great question. My favorite part about coordinating the Blonde Club is definitely the people. So I regularly attend the walking groups and some other events as well, and just getting out and meeting new people and hearing different stories from everyone, both participants and volunteers. I just get so much out of that. It's a very rewarding role. And I love just hearing, same with Kate, like I love hearing the success stories and how everyone's enjoying it, both participants and volunteers. It's a really lovely community and I'm just love being a part of it.
Amazing. Sorry, I know I caught you all off guard there, but I know you are all super passionate, so I knew it wouldn't be hard to answer. I've spoken with both participants and volunteers across the board, and the general consensus is that their lives have been changed for the better. And that's thanks to you girls who run those programs. So a huge thank you to you. We're actually going to wrap up the webinar now. It will be available as a recording, so we will send it out once we conclude today's webinar, and you can share with your friends. If you would like to get in touch, please visit our website. You can give us a call just to register any interest, just to find out a bit more information. It is all online, otherwise you can give us a call, send us an email. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.